How to have fun anytime, anywhere. Step 1. Go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2. Collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa welcome bonus.
Step 3. Play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games. All for free?
Step 4. Unleash your excitement.
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
The following podcast is brought to you exclusively by the Rad Rob Radio Network.
This is PBA champion Kyle Troop, and you're listening to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. As you know, JP Jr. used to be introduced as the sexiest man in bowling, and now the world. But he doesn't have the best hair in the world. I do. Sorry, bud, but you know the deal. Pick it out. Fear the fro, baby.
Welcome to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. A hard-hitting, in-depth, cutting-edge look into the world of bowling. This podcast will not only cover all things bowling, but will also give you a raw look into real-life issues. You'll get unfettered access into the mind of one of the most gifted bowlers of this or any other generation. So without further ado, let's introduce you to the hosts of the show. Rad Rob, Rob Francois. Rad Rob, Rob Francois. Dr. Ocho. Dr. Ocho. And the incomparable Johnny Petraglia Jr. Johnny Petraglia Jr.
Hey guys, welcome back to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. I am still your host, I think. Sorry, I gotta turn my phone off. I owe everybody a beer. It's gonna be fucking expensive. This is episode number 58. God, I can't believe we've done 58 things in a row. I mean, not really in a row, but I mean 58 things total. Like, Christ, I've never done that much in my life. I'm sure Ocho's gonna have something to say about that. So, let's not waste any time. Let's bring in the man with the shiniest mask in the world, not just bowling. I got nothing else, dude. I've introed you so many times. I literally have run out of material to intro you with. Hello, Ocho.
You say without further ado, and then you waste minute after minute with these stupid, pandering, nonsensical ramblings. And of course, you've had 58 trips to Popeyes or something like that in a row. And I'm sure there's probably a 1 in front of that. But why say without further ado in the intro, and then here you are adoing us? You had plenty of further ado. So let's get going, man.
He used his adus. I didn't get a chance to use my adus yet, so I'm using my adus.
You should use an adon't then, because that wasn't an ado.
Would you not like me to intro you every week from now on? Just hit the button and bring you in?
The show, and he's got the shiniest mask in the world. Then you power pause for 8 seconds. Like, that's going to do anything.
6 to 8.
Yeah, I got nothing. And let me turn my phone off. And and how about this? Oh, I sat on my balls. Oh, man, stupid me. I'm not really crying. It just hurt,
Vince Russo probably sits on his balls because he has the, what do you call it? The fuck was the word that he used? The medical term, for the...
He has like the variocele, or he's got the epididymitis.
Epididymitis. That's exactly what it was. That's exactly what it was. Yes.
All right, let's go.
Also joining us is the third member of the team, but he has the biggest member on the team. He is the sexiest man in the world.
That hasn't been proven yet.
What, he's the sexiest man in the world, or he's got a big member?
No, that has. Just go ahead. You're doing again.
I am doing a lot. Hopefully Johnny isn't fettering tonight. The one and only Johnny Petraglia Jr. Good evening, Johnny.
Another incredible intro there, guys.
Right, dude? I'm telling you.
That was just fantastic. I'm actually just getting over a severe case of epididymis, or whatever it is that you guys call it. So feeling much better. So thanks.
That's good to know.
That is good to know.
You used a lot of ice and shame, I think, for that.
Yeah, pretty much. What's up, Kyle? Good to see you, dude. And
hello, Kyle.
I'm sorry last week when you said you were going out to Indy, Kyle, I didn't realize you were bowling the PTQ. And actually, not bad bowling out there at all things considered, man. So keep it up, and you're on the right track for sure. Hey, Ben. Ben says, have a great show at League. Can't hear anything, but want to say, hey, can't wait to listen to this episode in the AM.
They should put it over the loudspeaker.
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe once we get big enough, we'll have them start doing that for sure.
How much bigger do we got to get?
I don't know, but we're working hard at it. That's for sure.
I
definitely
are. I'm 9 months off, so no pun intended. I got to get back in it. Go ahead.
So, Johnny, you are all over this week's U.S. Open. I know you've been following it very, very closely, and I'm a little shocked by some of the results. Ocho and I were talking about before we went on air that PB3 is not bowling very well. He's near the end of the list. Belmo is having troubles. A lot of great pros are having troubles on this shot, but a lot of good pros are also in the cut too. So, what's your take on everything so far? What have you observed?
Well, so far, what I've observed through the first 2 days is exactly what everybody had anticipated. The scores are producing numbers similar to the Cavalier years, where the tournament leader is averaging high two teens. And for the most part, that's about it. You don't see any massive games. The guys who are really doing fantastic. Good to see you, John and Derek.
Hey, Derek.
The guys that are really doing fantastic are the guys that are figuring out ways to turn their 160s into 190s and turn their 2.0s into 215, 220s. You know, you see a big game here and there, but the big games are completely irrelevant when the format is this long, and the challenge each day is equally as difficult in some regard. One pattern may play harder than another one, but the mental grind is there every single day. Yeah. Just because today's pattern is easier than yesterday. I mean, sure, the guys are shooting 100 pins higher today than they did yesterday, but what's 100 pins over 8 games? It's an extra hit a game or so. So it's really it is the true test of mental grind as well as physical, and understanding what's in front of you and what is expected of you in order to be amongst the top of the field. And a lot, like you said, Rob, a lot of guys so far are impressing me, and a lot of guys are confusing me. There's a lot of names. It was, the first question I was asked yesterday was, is Belmo going to make it? Because he's 100 under after day one. And I said, no doubt about it, And sure enough, Belmo comes out today and he bowls 3 deuces to start the block. And now he's only like 40 under, 50 under. But so far, what I've seen, as far as the good things, the event seems to be, I don't know what it's like for a spectator to watch the greatest bowlers in the world and only see 30 of them plus after 2 days. I would think that's got to get a little boring after a while, especially when you're in a 70-lane bowling alley and there's only 36 bowlers bowling at a time. So you're not, it's from the fans' perspective, I would assume it's got to be somewhat cool to watch, but also kind of boring because you don't see a lot of strikes.
It's like watching a defensive struggle in football, but only a bunch of football games at once almost, or a pitcher's duel or something. I'm trying to just associate it some other way because they're still chasing a number, which could add excitement to it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's the one thing is the number is going to be crunched. There's going to be a lot of guys fighting for a lot of different spots. You got to remember, guys, there's 3 different numbers that each batch or each group of the players are chasing now. There's the cash line, there's the cut line, and then there's the TV show line, which we know is the top 9, not the top 5. So a lot of different things up in the air, for the guys on the outside looking in as well as the guys on the inside, avoiding those 120s, 130s, which is very, very easy to do this week. And I had said, today's pattern is the middle finger pattern. If anybody has seen the lane graph, what's up, Ryan? And congrats on your first 300, my friend. I'm pretty sure I'm right when I say it was your first sanctioned 3. And congrats to you on that. I didn't get a chance to tell you that sooner. The first pattern, as we all know, was 49 feet, and it was flat, gutter to gutter. So that was obviously, don't really have to say much more about that. But today's middle finger pattern is also kind of doing the same thing, where the scoring pace isn't astronomical, but they're way easier than yesterday. Once we get into tomorrow is going to be moving day. Typically, just like moving day in a golf tournament. Tomorrow is 39 feet, flat gutter to gutter 1-to-1 ratio, which is 1 foot shorter than the pattern was when it was at Carolier, when it was extremely dreadful and it took an average of like 215 to lead the tournament. So tomorrow is going to be a huge deciding factor in a lot of movements in my eyes. I kind of predicted today that the bowlers would bowl better, way better than they did yesterday, and that held true. And I expect that tomorrow it's going to be another as big, if not bigger, of a mental grind, because tomorrow, I'm sorry I'm blabbering here, and I'll stop talking in a second, but the difference between day 1 and day 3, that 10 feet, the one good thing about day 1 is you knew the ball wasn't going to run away Brooklyn or hook towards the left gutter if you yanked it. You knew if you missed out at all, you could get 3 off the right, because they're just snot tight and slick. But at least you knew if you missed in, you still had a relatively decent chance to hit the head pin. On 39 feet flat, if you yank it, there ain't enough hold to keep that ball on the right side of the head pin for a righty, left side for a lefty. So the emphasis on precise shot making going into day 3, after they've already been through these 16 games of grueling torture for these first 2 days, is really going to tell you who's got the best head on their shoulders.
Ocho, what have you...
you're saying, right?
I mean,
pretty much the grind and staying in play and like you said, trying to keep the 120 out of play. But also, it sounds like some guys can make big jumps on moving day also. I mean, depending on the pair you get or even the look you get, you might think you're in 70th place, and then after the block you're in 25th in the cut line almost or something, and you're in match play. I don't even know what line is what or how many make it, but it seems like you're still never out, really.
Well, just to give you an idea, right now through 12 games for A squad, and B and C squad have completed 16 games. The cut line for 24th place right now is 78 over, which is a 204 average. The cash line, which is 36th, is none other than, who did I just say was going to start coming after day 1, is Jason Belmonte. Jason Belmonte today is the cash line number at plus 24, which is a 202 average. So the difference between the cash number and the cut number is about 60 pins right now. By the way, Jason Belmonte, because everybody was so curious about his first day out, Belmonte went 62 under the first day. And today, so far, through 4 games, he's got 245, 201, 201, 239 for 86 over today, and now he's plus 24. He is the best bowler in the world, and it's going to be proven again this week. You guys will see. But just to give you guys an idea, if the number is 36 for plus 24, I mean, 56 is minus 35. So there's only a separation of 60 pins from there. So again, a lot of the haters of of allowing everybody into the Open when it had 400 or 500 entries was they hated it simply because there were too many bowlers that legitimately had no shot to win or get a check. So they're basically there filling space, doing absolutely nothing, playing the lanes incorrectly, screwing whoever is crossing with them who knows how to play these patterns. You know what I mean? Those guys are eliminated from the tournament. So from that aspect of it, at least the 108 that are in there, all of them had a similar shot to do well this year. At least everybody's trying to do something. But because of that bottleneck, the movement, everybody's like, oh, I got to average 240. I got to average 240. Not really. Look at Belmo, 60 under on day 1. Now he's 80 over on day 2. If he bowls half as good as he did the first 4 games and he gets to 120 over for the block, 1720 is a massive, massive, massive block. What's up, Kev? Good to see you. What's up, Johnny?
Hey, Kev.
Frank. Good to see
Frank.
all you guys shuffling in here. Awesome.
What's up, Tim? What's up?
Frank,
Johnny,
I did see the Doherty bowl. Well, real quick, Rob. I want to see where Tom Doherty is and what he shot today, just based off on what I'm talking about how astronomical jumping numbers, like what it actually means. So Tom Doherty today, to give you guys an example, Tom Doherty went 232 over today.
Wow.
Nobody else has gone 232 over at all. Nobody else. The only other 1,800 I see today is from Matt Ogle, who went 204 over today. But Tom Doherty, 230, 220, 210, 240, 210, 240, 230, 210. That is absolutely bonkers, sensational bowling. It's absolutely crazy good bowling for what they're bowling on. Any of the 4 patterns they use for qualifying. So sorry, Rob, what were you going to say?
I mean, I was going to say, like, the difference between, last and first is, first is averaging 217, and you got a bunch of guys at, 190s, 180s. I mean, like, it's still wide open. Like, just because somebody's kind of leading today, it's like golf. You can just go on a run and make up all the room. So it's, look, even Mookie Betts, like, he didn't bowl bad. Like,
no, he didn't bowl bad on day one. He is not bowling well today.
No, he's not. But I mean, he's still holding a 180 average, or 170 average, somewhere around there.
181 he's averaging right now. He's a 95th out of 100.
181, and he's not a pro. You know what I mean? Like, that's to me, I'm impressed by that. Like, honestly,
the lowest guy in the field is averaging 174.
Yeah,
I mean, when it was 400 or 500 entries into the tournament, you would see guys that averaging 140 and 150.
Yeah.
So
do they take their check, but it cost them money to pay to get in the tournament, right? Didn't that go to like prize funds or anything? Did that help with as far as cash payouts or anything like that?
Sure, there's an entry fee for every PBA tournament, both professional and regional.
So I mean, there's a good thing for having a bunch of yahoos come in that don't know what they're doing. Sure, they slop up the lanes a bit, but once they're out of the picture, now it's just they donated to the prize fund for the winner. I mean, I guess take the good with the bad, especially when they're still always looking for prize funds, and now they don't do it.
Yeah, it was kind of I'm in agreement with you here, Oach. I never understood why you would limit the field when you're trying to build prize funds. Like it was unless if they had added money from some kind of a sponsor,
or something. Sure,
but first place I think is only $50,000. It's, we're used to seeing 100, 150.
Yeah. And it's called an open, too, right? Like, isn't that the point of an open tournament
so it's always been called an open, but you always had to qualify to some extent to make it into the U.S. Open. But yeah, typically it was always open to all players that wanted to bowl. This year it's an open invitational. It's an invitational this year.
Let's move on.
Kudos to. Sorry, go ahead.
No. Go ahead. But it's finish your thought. I'm sorry. I'm all over the place here.
I was going to say kudos to all of the Junior Team USA members bowling this week. I mean, It was nice to see Justin Bone. Justin Bone went plus today. He had a bad first day, but he went a few over today, so he averaged over 200. Brandon Bone was only 60 under yesterday, and he opened today 190, 190, 190. Who else did I see? Ryan Barnes is hanging tough. It's nice to see. Terrence Rock, a local prodigy out here from Vegas. There's a lot of guys in there still, grinding their asses off, and that's really, really cool to see.
Have they bowled on anything like this before? I mean, I said they bowl on tough conditions, but have they been or even been through the rigors of anything like this before? These up and comers.
Sure. Remember, these kids are seasoned athletes already. They've been born and bred to do this. They've climbed every ladder. They go to schools where this is their bread and butter. They bowl Team USA trials. They bowl collegiate, all those things. So I don't know if they've ever bowled a 56 game format against the best bowlers in the world. Well, some of the best bowlers in the world, since there's only 108 of them this year. I don't know if they've ever been conditioned to bowl in this kind of a format. I kind of favor the guys like a Chris Barnes and a Belmonte and a Simo in events like this, typically because they're used to the longer formats. Well, I don't even know if I can throw Belmo in that mix, but I can because he's the greatest there ever.
He just does good no matter what. Like if you give him a long format, he's going to do good. You give him a short format, he's going to do good. He's the cream that always rises to the top.
Exactly. Just the seasoned guys are used to these long formats. They know how to work themselves through a tournament of this duration. So those are the guys I always look to see on top, which is one of the main reasons why I'm like really confused why Wes Malott is doing so poorly. I've never seen Wes do bad at all.
When you say condition to it, you mean like, so maybe they don't come out and shoot 280, but again, they stay in play. They make their spares. They make 95% of their spares. They keep it at the number. They keep it at 0 or plus 10 or something. Is that kind of where you're going?
Kind of. More what I mean is when I say they're conditioned to it is the PBA tour, when it used to be, summer, fall, winter tour, and you would travel 36 cities a year, the standard length of a tournament was 42 games. The majors were 56 games. There were some tournaments that had 48 games, but every tournament was 42 plus games.
And I guarantee you the general public has no clue about that. They don't. And that's part of the shame of it too, is just to realize how to get there. They didn't just show up, on Saturday, bowl a few games, and then here's the top 5. They had to weed out.
Yeah. I try and compare it because, imagine going to bowl. I want you guys to imagine this. I want you guys to imagine that you went to bowl league and they were hard. Hi, Phyllis. You went to bowl league and they were hard, right? And you grinded your ass off for 3 games to shoot whatever you shoot. And then by the time the night is over, I said to you, okay, you guys have an hour break and then you got to come back and you got to bowl 3 more games on the same shit. You'd probably figure out a way to mentally prepare for it, figure out how you would attack the lanes differently. Now, imagine that those 3 games were 8 games a day. And now you have to bowl on this. So now, not only are you in a bowling alley all day, it takes you all day, you're in there for 5 hours. Maybe you want to study a couple hours. You have to go back the next day and bowl 8 more. And then the next day and bowl 8 more. And then the next day and bowl 8 more. And then on Friday, you got to bowl 16 games. And then you got to bowl 8 more. And then you make it to TV. And then after you make it to TV on Saturday, then you get in your car, you drive 300 miles to the next tour stop, you bowl the Pro-Am, and then you have your practice session, and then you bowl 8 games again.
You repeat.
And again, and again, and again. That is so amazing to do on a week in and week out basis, and you have to be so mentally strong. Forget about talent. You have to be so mentally strong to get your brain to wired that way. And it works like that in pretty much anything.
Yeah, it's easy for that long of a time. It's easy to get sidetracked. It's easy to go, you know what? I'm so far out of it, or it's just not my day, or something like that. But because these guys are wired differently, they don't have that off switch, and that's the part that I just kind of wish would be more apparent when discussing these, tournaments. And so I never even knew that was going on until I went to a friend of everybody, good friend of Parker, Ron Paget. One year took me to the U.S. Open, to Carolier. And I had no idea how the scoring was. I was like, what's plus or minus? And he was like, well, it's like par in golf. And I was like, well, damn, that makes so much sense. Why don't they talk about that? I never knew that. I never knew they bowled 56 freaking games. I'm like, why are there so many games? Like, well, this is only one block. Now, another group of 150 bowlers is coming in an hour, and they're going to bowl all this. I'm like, get out of here. And sure enough, there was, this, again, 10, 15 years ago, wall-to-wall bowlers. The fans were there, too. It was a hot place. There was a great atmosphere, and you had so many things to watch. People shooting 300s every once in a while, barely, but I never knew it. I never knew the atmosphere was like that. I never knew the scoring was like that. I never knew that they bowled that many games. And it's almost like how they look so fresh on the TV is also kind of amazing, because that's almost like the powder keg. That's the blow off. The hard work was done already. This is just a 1-2 game thing for let's see if I win or if the show was, or if this week was. They're already doing good, but let's put the cherry on top, basically. And it's amazing that they don't look so spent and exhausted and ready to just pack it in for that team. But maybe the lights come on and that kicks them up again, too. So anyways.
Totally.
No clue. I had no clue, man.
Yeah, that's absolutely. I'm glad you pulled this one up, Rob. Watch Nathan Bohr grind out a 2-team that he had no business doing so. He's such a player. Why do you think he never broke through? I have my ideas, but I would love to hear your take. I think about this frequently. Actually, every time I see Nathan Bohr, I think about this exact question, and I have my take also. Nathan Bohr, in my opinion, everybody, this is my opinion, okay? He hasn't found his identity, and he has a mental block. He's got the fierceness of a hamster. He He bowled 4th at Wichita State when Rash bowled 5th. So they were 2 studs in college bowling, but Nathan Bohr was never Sean Rash. So when you bowl behind or in front of one of the best bowlers the game has ever seen, you're automatically viewed like, okay, you should be one of the best too. It was kind of like, why did PJ Haggerty go out on tour, but Ivan Miyasato didn't? I don't necessarily know that Ivan wouldn't have done well on tour, but it's similar, I'm comparing Fresno to Wichita here. But Nathan, he doesn't smell blood. He doesn't smell blood the way that Mike Albee does. He gets himself in position to do something, and then he can't finish it off. And it's like, look at his scores on the sheet right now. He's not a closer, and you have to know how to close to win, and he's never had that. And you could tell, like, when he's on the lanes, he is so emotional. Like, when he throws a shot that he knows he executed perfectly and he strikes, he looks like, God, I needed to react this way because I deserve that. I know I'm this good. That should have fallen exactly the way it should. Yes, I can do this. He's always trying to pump himself up because somewhere inside he doesn't think he's good enough. And it's always been the case. At least this is what I see from the outside looking in. So, like, when I see somebody like Sean Rash bowl on television, you can tell Sean knows he's going to win, whether he wins or not. Sean always knows he's going to win, and Sean knows how to win. Nathan always looks like, God, all I need is my opponent to just make a mistake, and then I don't have to win it. He'll just give it to me. And then once I break through, then I'll learn how to win. I think that's what's missing for Nathan. And you can call me crazy, but the kid's been on tour for almost 15 to 20 years now, and he's made one television show at a format that was only 14 games to make TV. So, and it was, so I think those are my ideas about Nathan.
I incorrectly typed 15th. I'm going to correct that. Simo is 16th after the second round. And, we talked about him last week. He is obviously one of the front runners to repeat. What have you seen so far from Simo?
Steady Eddie. He is so wise beyond his years when he attacks a bowling lane. I mean, he's got a similar brain to a Chris Barnes or a Mike Albee, just because I brought those two guys up. He is so mentally advanced. The kid thinks like a winner. He acts like a winner. He's just a winner. And his scores this week prove it. Look out, by the way, for Simo and the other right-handed two-handers tomorrow. The guys, I was checking old U.S. Open records from the 40-foot flat pattern, and a lot of bangers, two-handers, guys that can throw it over the cap, guys who can throw it firm, actually whacked the 40-foot flat pattern on the fresh. And they've only got 1 day on it. So even though they're going to be brutal tomorrow, watch how many two-handers climb up the ladder tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle is 18th, and even left-hander, Jesper is in 20th. So yeah, there's a lot of two-handers.
And Michael Martell is a great bowler, but I'm very surprised at how fantastic he's bowling. This
we talked before about how you could leapfrog a lot, and you know how they said at the Masters you can't win it on day one, but you can certainly lose it for the golf Masters, right? 100%. Is there for a mindset? Is there an idea of like what position you want to be in? Like certainly you of course you want to be in first place after 2 days, but like, do you say to yourself, if I'm anywhere between 10th and 30th, I'm in a good spot? Like just for a mental thing. This is I'm talking just clearly from your point of view, just to give to the audience. Do you because I just said Simo at 16th place, and I'm like, well, that's got to be a good spot for him. He's right there. He's right there in the. He's already under the number. He's in the number. So do you give yourself like a leeway of like, if I can not to limit yourself to say I want to be within 30, but like there's got to be a number where you're looking, I think.
Everybody's always trying to lead the tournament.
Right, that's the game plan, but like to be realistic.
But it depends because the format of the tournament, everybody's always aware of the scoring pace. Okay?
Yes, that's it too. That's another thing that people don't know.
people will be aware of the number, but you have to be aware of the scoring pace. Like, for instance, if I know the scoring pace for the cash line is 200, is even, then I'm going to attack the lanes differently as opposed to if I know the scoring pace for the cash line is 240.
Mm-hmm.
So the scoring pace dictates the moves that you make on the lane with your choice of equipment. This week,
and with these different patterns, there's going to be different paces per day, I would think, too, then, correct?
Yeah. So far, they're pacing about 100 pins better today than yesterday. Tomorrow will be close to day one, but I'd say maybe a smidge. It could go either way. It all kind of depends on the bowling alley, because 39 feet flat gutter to gutter is a fucking nightmare. But you're always aware of the scoring pace. So, for instance, Anthony Simonson knows that first off, he knows he's one of the best bowlers in the world, right? So if he is bowling the absolute best that he can, and the best that he can do this week is 220, I guarantee you there's not going to be 24 guys that are bowling 220, 230. Like, Anthony there's no way other bowlers are going to bowl better than Anthony. Anthony right now is doing exactly what my dad's mentality always was for longer format tournaments. The reason my dad always loved longer formats, because my dad was not notoriously, he was never a big starter. He didn't get out of the gates quick. It's why my dad hates getting in brackets. It's why he hates bowling USBC Nationals. He absolutely despises short format tournaments. The sweepers and the mini eliminators out here with 2-game sweepers and 3-game qualifiers, it's nonsense to him. Because typically he has the exact same mindset as you, Ocho. You can't win the tournament on day one. You can only lose it. Like, you can go 300 over on day one and still not win. But if you go 300 under on day one, you're not going to make it. It's already over. I was talking about that, like, in the case of a couple guys at the bottom. It's like, kudos to a couple of these guys for getting into the U.S. Open, but they know on day one that no matter how good they bowl, they're not going to go plus, and they have no chance of getting there. Like Jeff says, the cream always rises to the top, especially in the longer format tournaments, because back to what my dad's thought was, he would always enter the tournament and say, okay, for games 1, 2, and 3, I'm going to stay around the pocket and pretend like I'm bowling 9-pin no tap. I'm going to try and figure out a way to get in the spot that I can hit the pocket, whether it carries or not, try and throw a double or two a game, bowl my 2-0, 2-teen, 190, avoid the 150, 160, so I'm not 150 under. And then once everything gets loose, and now I'm fucking freewheeling it, now I can go out and I can try and bowl 230, 240, 240. And that was always my mindset growing up, because I was taught by him. There's other guys who are polar opposite. There's guys that come out like gangbusters, and they bowl 290, 280, 270 the front 3 games, and then they kind of fall off. So there's different mindsets for different tournaments. And in this tournament, you need to have that I'm here for the long haul. A 130 is not going to kill me, but I kind of try and not bowl 130 3 or 4 times. Whereas a 270 would be a really, really nice if I bowled one, but I can't expect to bowl more than 1 or 2 of them. If you go in with that mindset and you're aware of the scoring pace, typically you're setting yourself up for less of a disaster when you get there.
So, judging from what you see right now, do you think there'll be any surprise entrance into the step ladder? Do you think anybody? Anybody can obviously catch a hot streak, but just based on what you're seeing, will it be the usual suspects like EJ Tackett's bowling fantastic right now, Belmo, Simo, Troop?
Well, so honestly, for me, there's a couple in here that I'm already kind of shocked about. First off, let's go with Thomas Larson.
Yeah,
Thomas Larson, kind of a journeyman pro, but hasn't done much, and then voila, he comes out of nowhere and he wins the Masters, right?
Yep.
And now he's leading, and he's bowling fantastic. I never in a million years, if you'd have told me that they were bowling on these 2 patterns on day 1 and day 2, never in a million years would I have put Thomas Larson on the top of that list. Never.
Yeah.
So simply because, he's a fantastic bowler, don't get me wrong, but his game is just so not catered to typically what that is. But it just kind of shows what kind of a shot maker he is. Hang on 1 second. I have to yell at my dog, but I have to mute my mic so I don't sound like an asshole to our viewers.
Too bad we can read lips. So,
I feel so bad about it. Who else is surprising me?
How about Tom Smallwood? Can we throw his name in? Sorry, Michael
What about
Martell.
Tom Smallwood?
I mean, he's bowling decent from what I've seen, and Derek wanted to know, what do you think he needs to do to get to that next level? I mean, obviously he's a competent bowler.
I mean, if I really had to nitpick at Tom Smallwood, what I think he has to do to get better, taking care of your body as you get older is important.
Yeah.
Things don't work as well. I'll be the first to fucking tell you that I can't bend half as much as I used to at the foul line.
Right.
My back aches when I pick up my 4-pound dog. It's so as you get, what's up there, Bear? As you get older, you really got to take care of your body a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think if really Tom just needs to keep doing what he's always done. He's a fantastic player, but to see him getting back a little bit better physical condition, I think would help the duration of his career and then certainly help him win more, especially for these longer format tournaments.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's another thing that people don't realize. When you're bowling 56 games, you also got to be physically fit to some extent, which is why in today's game, most of the guys you see on TV are in decent shape or good shape.
Yeah.
So if I had to really pick on Tom for anything, that would be it. But I still think that Tom's a sensational player. I loved watching Tom Smallwood bowl the World Match Games long before he was on tour. I mean, what he can do to a bowling ball with that full roller release, and not a lot of people even know that he is a full roller, is pretty special.
Yeah, and he's 45th right now. So he obviously still has enough to make up. He's -4 as we speak, but I mean that's just out of the cash line. And if he has a good day, who knows? I mean, he can make the cut and get into match play. But our buddy Marshall Kent is bowling well as well. Tom Hess is up there. Chris Barnes is just below the cut line. Jason Sterner's below that. Tommy Jones, Ronnie Russell, Santu. There's a lot of guys, even Belmo. They're within striking distance of just having a good day tomorrow and getting into match play, and then it's game on from there. So you mentioned Martell.
Well,
do you want to get back to him?
I'll get to him in 1 second. Okay. But you mentioned this, and this is you just mentioned Marshall Kent. Mm-hmm. Here's a prime example of how you don't have to bowl, of how astronomical the numbers are without being astronomical, just to give you an idea to dictate how tough the lanes are.
Yeah.
You said Marshall Kent's doing well. Marshall Kent right now is in 22nd. Yesterday, Marshall went +3. Okay? Today, through 4, he's got 255, 200, 231, 220. He's +106 today.
Yeah.
So he's +1. He's now +109, and he's inside the top 24 number because he bowled 250, 230, 220. Think about that.
Yeah.
That's how much movement can happen, and that's why I say you're going to see the seasoned players catch a little fire here and there.
Right.
And the guys that catch that fire and then stay away from the 150, 160 games and turn them into 180, 190s, like Jeff said earlier, those guys are going to keep coming up, and the guys that can't cut the mustard are going to keep dropping down.
Getting back to Michael Martell.
Yeah. So Michael is a left-hander, traditional lefty, thumb in, and he's been bowling well, and he's a good bowler, and he's impressing the shit out of me because he's a traditional lefty. And when I look for traditional lefties, I'm trying to find traditional lefties that are also bowling well. Like Ryan Simonelli right now is in 34th. He went 40 under yesterday, but he's 72 over today through 5 games.
Yeah.
So there's a standard lefty, right? They don't have lefty and righty listed here, but other standard lefties that I can just find. Kim Bolaby from Sweden is 30 under. And he's 30 under because he went +60 today.
Right.
He's in 54th. Who else we got here?
Parker had a better day today than yesterday so far. So he's making up a little ground, but obviously he's old school lefty, right? So
we've got Brandon Bone in 69th at 88 under. Jacob Buttriff is 71st, 100 under. I'm looking for more lefties. I mean, I guess we can't really say that Jacob's a traditional lefty.
Well, no.
His thumb is in the ball, and he's only got one hand in it.
True.
Or one hand on it.
That's true.
Parker Bone and Matt Russo, 90th and 92nd, 180 and 180, 181 and 176 under. Parker today went 50 under. Matt Russo went 150 under today. So it's, or no, did he? I'm sorry. Matt Russo's only bowled 5 games today. Matt Russo's bowled 5 games today, and he's 50 over today. He's plus 50 today, and he's still 176 under.
Oh.
Yeah. Anthony Nair, 97th, 239 under. Kevin Williams, two-handed lefty, 242 under. Jean Perez out of the PTQ, is traditional lefty, 250 under. He's in 102nd. The majority, now that I live on the West Coast, I'm not allowed to say majority anymore because people bust my fucking chops about it. So instead, I'll make my face do this weird thing and I'll say, the majority.
Your eyebrows even moved when you said it. This is a disgrace.
Dude.
Your face hates it. Yeah.
That's the word they pick out of everything?
Majority. And my dog has paws, not paws. So we hit pause to stop the television, and while I wipe my dog's paws.
Isn't pause the freaking Easter egg dye that we're supposed to use? It smells like vinegar. This is bullshit.
It sounds right. It sounds right.
PAAS.
Yes.
But anyway, back on it. Rob. Yeah, and Jeff, you're right. Packy and Kevin, not traditional lefties. I didn't even see Packy's name. I didn't see where he was, but again, I was. We're trying to explain why what Michael Martell is doing is so fantastic. I mean, Michael Martell's in 12th place right now, guys.
Yeah.
Some of those left-handed names I just said to you are PBA Hall of Famers, PBA champions, and he has figured out something magical, and he's got it. He had it on day 1, he had it on day 2. So look out for Michael Martell this week because he is the kind of bowler that is used to long format tournaments. He is from back east. He's grown up in that element where he knows how to win, and there's always somebody that's got a trick. And he's
got his winning format from his great uncle, former AWA champion Rick Martell.
Yes.
Former WWF tag champion with Tony
the
Guerrero.
Model.
Amazing.
Yes.
And the model, yes. He uses his arrogance. He goes to the lanes and he sprays arrogance on the bowling ball, and that's how it holds the lane.
Oh,
he knew who Rick Martell was. Holy shit, that's awesome.
Fuck hell. Of
course he does, man.
I forgot about the model, dude. I forgot.
He's the reason why he's why I liked the color pink when I was younger.
Yeah, there you go.
You got away with it, too.
Of course.
I forgot about Matt Sanders. Where is Matt Sanders?
He got it. The model.
Matt Sanders is in 37th at plus 23. That's also sensational bowling.
Is there a reason why the traditional guys are having the rough time? Obviously, the tight conditions, but is there any, or did I miss it while I was smothering my daughter with a pillow?
We were just on the topic of discussing who are we surprised about?
Oh, okay. I mean, because I know with Parker, how does you just expect him to be? I know he's older, I get it, but you expect him to be the guy in play. But I guess the conditions are that tough.
I will tell you what I think, and then I'll answer Jeff's question. Parker, every great bowler has some kind of flaw, right? Or something that they're not bad at, or it's not something they necessarily do wrong, but they all have one thing that maybe doesn't match up, right?
They don't, right. The long pattern for somebody, the short pattern for somebody.
Right. Parker Bone, 30-something titles, major champion multiple times. Parker Bone hates throwing the ball slow. Hates it. He loves.
So he doesn't play inside then, right?
He can play inside, and he does, but not too often. And when he does,
used to actually. I didn't mean to, but way back because he was the guy that hooked the ball.
Yes, but he was never the guy that slow hooked it.
Right.
For anybody there was it was the 1996 IOF Foresters Open in Canada.
I remember that one.
Parker Bone is against the ball return, curving the entire lane with a black ice. It's the only time I've ever seen Parker hook the whole lane, and it's the only time I've ever seen Parker throw the ball slower than 17 miles an hour, ever. So day 1 and day 2, you have the middle finger pattern, however long they are today, I never checked, and 49 feet yesterday. Parker loses accuracy when he has to slow down. And that pattern, you actually had to throw the ball relatively slow. Both of them, actually. Speeds have had to be a little bit softer. So I can understand why Parker struggles. A, Parker doesn't really have a wonderful track record at the U.S. Open. And B, that's one of the contributing factors, I think, to why Parker is struggling. It's his ball speed is just a little bit too firm for these patterns they're using out there right now. I think it's the one problem that he's running into.
So he's throwing it where he wants to. He's throwing it how he wants to. He's just his miles per hour so he's skidding a little too much, basically. And if you don't it's like decelerating a golf club, which is different because you're really not supposed to decelerate a golf club. Bowling, you do have to throw it slower, I guess, at times, faster at times. So that's just part of it. But that's, I guess. And so then he doesn't hit his target when he throws it slower, which then chances are even less because you still have to be dead on balls accurate, as they say.
Very good there, Marissa Tomei. Jeff Skyer says, what are your thoughts on the boys only having 10 balls until match play? Jeff, I wish it was 8 or 6. I think that it's the best possible thing they could have done. I think that forcing them to check in their equipment before the tournament starts. Can you guys still hear me? Because I'm hearing backlash in my ear.
Yes.
It's probably Rob. Rob's got an echo or something.
I think that limiting the bowling balls was the best thing they could have done because you take away the guys going out to the truck and drilling magic pieces in between blocks.
True.
That has to take away some athletic. I mean, you have to be you have to have a skill to throw the ball properly. But because like your dad used to say, it was the true athlete would be the guy who then flattens his wrist, cups his wrist more, comes around, changes his hand position to the side of the ball. That's like. It's like hitting a draw or hitting a fade or hitting a knockdown. Like you're bowling your ball. You're golfing your golf ball. You're not just rolling it in the same spot. Finally finding a piece of equipment that works in your favor on that spot. It's feet position, hand position, moving left, moving right, that kind of thing, which I feel like that's what the true element of figuring out the bowling alley was about, even though I never did it. But it just sounds like that's what they meant for it. I feel like whenever this stones and sticks got invented.
That's a great segue, Ocho.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Absolutely.
We're doing this again?
We are.
Doing what?
Is bowling a skill or a sport? Is the big red wiffle bat real? That's great.
You guys talked about this. Yeah, that's right.
That was a great segue there, Ocho. You didn't even mean it, but that was fantastic. So we've been talking all week about people posting scores in the Facebook groups, and there was one senior citizen this week that shot an 858. Was it, Johnny?
858.
858, and the guy's like 92 years old. And I caught another one. I caught another one today. We're not going to name names or anything like that, but there's another one today that said, actually, you know what? I think I have a clip. Hold on.
Wonderful.
I do have a clip because
Let's go to the videotape.
I'm always prepared. All right. Let's watch this quick little screenshot I grabbed.
It's going to be a clip of
second 300. Whoop, hold on. There we go. Second 300 in the last week. I mean, it looks like that was a pretty decent release. I mean,
he's got a good form.
Yeah,
he's a lefty.
Not bad at all.
So I'm not going to take exception with him, but I can't find the other one. Somebody said they had like super stupid good scores. Yes. 300, 258, 300, 858 is the guy that we're talking about, the senior citizen dude.
Shouldn't that be a house record for where he's at? Like, I mean,
I want to know what happened in the second game, honestly, because like, did he,
He missed twice.
Because we just had a house record set at Howell Lanes last week.
Did you really?
Oh yeah, what was it?
866.
No kidding.
Nice.
860 was the old one, and the dude broke it on his second ball in the 10th. So his last ball, he threw a 7 count. So I think with he had, I don't know. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Maybe he threw a 6. Well, either way, that's the house record. That bowling alley's been there for how many years?
Forever.
And only these scores just started coming out, the last 10, 15, really.
And that's kind of what we're getting at. And we had this conversation a little bit last week as well. I mean, is it the lanes? Is it the equipment? Is it both? Ocho likes to swing his...
Take it away.
Yeah, you can't take away the sports shot, obviously. I mean, or the house shot. Should they take away the house shot and really kind of see who will rise to the top and see who are actually good? Will it make a difference? Is the equipment still good enough to kind of outweigh that? You know what I mean?
How about outweigh the fragile ego of half of these nerds that think they're athletes? Sorry, I'm going on again.
You guys hit the nail on the head that you can't take it away once you've given it. I mean,
right.
I like rap. It's not my favorite music genre, but after listening to gangsta rap and like NWA and all those kinds of rap artists, and imagine if they just took cursing out of rap out of nowhere.
Right.
Yeah. Would you still listen to rap?
That's like killing people out of Probably GTA. Not. Like it's never going to happen.
Right. Exactly. People People were more likely to buy Mortal Kombat on Sega Genesis rather than Super Nintendo because you could put the blood code in.
You could rip the spine out or whatever.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
exactly right.
Once you provide the false sense of someone's awesomeness in a skill or a sport, when you take that away, they don't come back. So you guys hit the nail on the head. You cannot make them easier now because you'll just lose bowlers, but they'll find something else to do instead. But is the big red wiffle bat real? It is 100% real, and I'm going to use myself as an example why. I literally bowl 3 games a week. I have bowled no more than 3 games a week in a year. Since I stopped bowling Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I literally bowl 3 games a week and I'm averaging 230. And if I go into league and I don't shoot 700, I'm like upset with myself.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That is big red wiffle bat for real.
Now, is that at South Point, Johnny?
Yeah. Even though I'm talented and even though I'm a bowler and all the other bullshit that everybody says.
There isn't one practice throw besides the 10 throws that you do right before. And I told my nephew, I said, all right, next week, Joe, let's practice. And he was like, when? And I was like, 6:15 when the practice light comes on for 4 league. What are you talking about when? That's, 8 throws and then you make your 10 pin on one lane, 10 pin on the other, and then you sit back. Mm-hmm. And then you aim it up 5.
It's to a point now that it's just upsetting to me that
this is what I'm surprised that people aren't really more upset. Honestly, I'm surprised that even that maybe the old timers aren't, and that because it tarnishes what they've done. When a Yahoo like me walks in and averages 215, that shouldn't be. I'm discrediting myself legitimately. Because same thing. Yeah. I walk in, except I'm using shit from 20 years ago, and I'm still hitting pins down. And I get it. You still got to knock the pins down, but they make it easy.
Have you talked to your dad about it, Johnny?
Not really, because my dad still gets thrilled when he shoots 750 on the Halloween's house shot.
That's fair. Okay.
So look, he's old enough. I'll let him have it. But that's what was I just going to say?
It tarnishes.
Who were you just talking about?
About the tarnishing.
Thank you. It's so tarnished that I bowl league at South Point. I'm on 31 and 32. Somebody bowled 300 on 25 and 6 last night.
You didn't even know it, probably.
No idea.
Yeah.
It's gotten so routine now that people don't so much as say, nice game.
It's only a 2-lane courtesy still. Used to be that the whole bowling alley would slow up and everybody would be like, hey, hang on, 10 lanes over he's on the front 10.
Everybody would stop, typically.
And now you hear the cheer and then you go, oh, someone shot 300. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly. That's what's like. Again, compare it to baseball. Imagine going to a baseball game and watching a home run hit and everybody in the crowd is just silent.
Yeah, all right.
Or
we've seen this before.
Or they have it where how it's silent when the away team hits a home run? Imagine that when your team hits a home run.
Right.
It's no fun of going to the game anymore.
Yeah. A walk-off grand slam. Everyone's like, I've seen it.
Oh, finally, the game's over.
Yeah.
Jeff says, what are your thoughts on youth development? I watched my son this past weekend bowl city tournament on house and watch kids who bowl junior gold leagues struggle mightily. Do you think kids should stay away from the harder sports shot leagues until their physical game is more developed? This is so hard for me, Jeff, because I'm cut from a different cloth. I see both sides of this one because I'm a very old 38 because my dad's ancient. And so in these last 20 years,
bad habits if you bowl on easier conditions and that you have to then break?
No, you can force yourself into bad habits by bowling on nothing but fucking hard shit.
Oh, that's true, right? Because then you're just
Arnold Palmer said it best. He said, when I go out and I play around the golf and I shoot 8 under, I immediately want to go to the practice range and keep hitting balls because I feel so good I don't want it to end. Right?
Yeah.
You're making your brain remember how good that felt.
And you're loose, and you're again, that whatever you guys say, freewheeling it, I think is the term, where you're comfortable, and you're not, because then once you're tight, that's when deceleration happens, and you pinch or you aim a little too much.
You need enough time to see the desired result of what you're working at before. Like, in other words, I would like to train a kid to throw strikes first. I want to bring them to Ocean Lanes in New Jersey and teach them how to throw strikes. It'll take about 25 minutes in that bowling alley. And then once we've got there, we've got their mechanics down, we've got their basics down. Every one of the best bowlers on the planet has a beautiful game, has good form. They do certain things the same. So you must get the kids comfortable enough and learn their game enough and have them see the result they're chasing, which is throwing strikes. I guarantee you, if you polled 15 kids that are less than 13 or let's go ages 10 to 13, and you brought them into a bowling alley and you said, hey, guys, I want you to bowl a game on this pair and I want you to bowl a game on this pair and tell me which one you like more. They're all going to say this one because they can strike more. This one, if I miss a little bit in, it goes through the nose. If I miss a little bit out, it goes in the gutter. Well, that's bowling. Like, I think we're sending the wrong message by forcing kids to bowl on shit that they're literally going 400 under at events. Like, I don't have any kids, but I can't imagine what it would be like getting in the car with my kid after just having watched them go 400 under and then going and asking the tournament director what the fuck he was thinking and have that asshole turn around and say to me, I know all about lane patterns and I know more about bowling and this is the game and this is the way the game should be played and your kid's just going to have to get better. Like, I can't imagine being one of those parents. I'd want to fucking sucker punch that guy for that answer that I know he's giving me. And on the flip side, the house shots are gone and they're going to progressively continue to be gone. So it's going to come to a point that when a kid bowls on a house shot, it's going to be like the more rare of the two because most every tournament is on some form of sport, some form of, USBC pattern or Kegel pattern or something like that. So for the kids, the big red wiffle ball effect or big red wiffle bat effect is it's not as bad when you're trying to teach them the basics of the game. But you can't learn how to get good at the game until you understand how to play the game first. It's why when we were kids, we started with T-ball, and then the coaches pitched, and then the pitching mound was 46
Or you go to the driving range. You go to the driving range and just spray balls rather than trying to learn on the course during a round of golf. You gotta you get the contact down first, and that's, I guess, they're throwing strikes. That makes sense.
Absolutely.
Isn't that what JBTs are for, Johnny? Like, to get kids competitively involved outside of a league, to learn the grind of a tournament and all that. I mean, I love bowling JBTs. Do we know if the patterns are different for those? Are they sport shots? Do we know?
That's a great question. I'm pretty sure, yes, they're using sport patterns on JBTs now as well. They were not using them when I was in JBTs,
right?
20, 25 years ago.
But I mean, that is an outlet for them to kind of, own their skills, and get them kind of to the next level.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
25 years ago, was the house shot such a house shot?
I mean, it wasn't a thing, right?
Or was the equipment not as aggressive to overpower the house shot, I guess maybe?
They didn't have that many patterns back then, right, Johnny?
Back when?
Back in, when we bowled?
You said 20, 25 years ago, it was just 80s, a bowling pattern. It wasn't even called a house shot, or I don't even know.
Sport patterns got introduced in 2001, 2002, I want to say.
There you go.
That was the year that sport bowling became, so it's been some like 20 years. So when I was bowling JBTs, no, that was in the 90s. So I was before any sport shot. Every tournament we bowled was just on whatever pattern that house put out.
On the bowling
alley. Which was hard enough. Right. Which was hard enough. You're going to a different bowling alley every weekend somewhere in the tri-state area, and you've got 5 qualifying games and 10 minutes of practice.
Yep.
So you have 10 minutes to decide, okay, of the 6 balls I brought with me at that time, we would bring 4 to 6 bowling balls. That was about the amount of balls everybody brought to JBTs back then. Is this bowling center? What's this bowling center's characteristics? Do they hook a lot on the gutter? Are they really tight up the middle of the lane? Do they hook early? Are they wood? Are they synthetic? You have to figure out all that shit on your own.
Yeah. Well, here's
a lane graph.
Right, but wasn't that the PBA Tour originally too? I mean, like you had to figure it out too. You didn't have here's the mLs of oil. You'd be like, okay, here's where I think I got to throw the ball, and then figure it out in your practice patterns.
Me too. Me too, Bear. I had 2 balls.
The PBA introduced the lane man in 1971, halfway through the season.
Say that again?
The lane man on the PBA, a person designated to do the lanes on tour, was introduced in the middle of the season in 71.
How did they do that? Did they use like a sponge or like a
I never did lanes. I'm assuming they used the gun, they used the mop to swish it. They probably knew exactly what length they wanted to lay it out to. Yeah, I mean it's
it wasn't a pattern per se. It was like just oil so the ball doesn't
pretty much.
I mean, a bug sprayer like that. I mean, is that really?
Yeah, they had like a tool that looked like a bug sprayer. It may have been a bug sprayer,
that's
but it
how
shot
I stained
oil.
My deck, dude. Like that's literally how I stained the deck.
There you go. But that was a great question by Jeff, because that's one that's always kind of on my mind, is because, I want to see the kids happy, and no one's happy going 400 under. Like, make them a little hard. A little bit.
But does that tell them that maybe they're not cut out for it also, or because they don't really get their true habits because they haven't thrown it properly?
I go 200 under on those patterns. I'm talking about like insane, ridiculous, stupid fucking patterns. Patterns that the pros barely average 200 on. Yeah. Like imagine putting out, you know what's going to happen? Watch this. Within the next 6 months, some asshole somewhere is going to have a junior tournament and say, we're using day 1 from the U.S. Open as the oil pattern. Like that right there, when somebody does something that idiotic to the kids, that's the kind of guy I think that should be thrown in jail.
I hope he does it in that exact voice.
The pros are averaging 180 on this, and you're going to make kids bowl on that? That's what I mean when I say make them a little bit hard. Let them bowl on like old cheetah, where you have to learn how to play the gutter. The gutter hooks. It won't go in, but you can't play in on old cheetah. But you can still score on old cheetah. Put out old scorpion. You can yank it and it doesn't go through the face, but you can't miss out. You're still teaching the kids how to bowl and allowing them the opportunity to actually throw fucking strikes.
So that's what I was going to ask you too. Is there a way to, again, put for the league bowler? I know they're going to leave, but like, I can't see people being that okay with having 20 boards of room, and by the end of some nights, not 20, but like I've seen it,
and they bitch about urethane burning up all the oil.
Some guys suitcase it and they miss 12 boards in, and it stays right there because they didn't throw it right, and it rails the pocket, and that same ball 100%. On that same suitcase hits the dry and comes back 18 boards and rails the pocket. And that's where, and I don't care. I don't say anything, but I notice it. If I notice it's got to be pretty drastic.
We all do.
So is there a way to like just hone it in a little bit where you take these old cheetah and make them a tad easier, like somehow? I don't know how easy it is to tinker either. So,
well, I like what Tony and Emil both said here, because those one white, the white, red, white, blue patterns, those are acceptable to me too.
I heard about them years ago.
They're hard enough, but they're easy enough. Like it'd take you a little while to figure them out. You need to figure out what the characteristics of each pattern are, but they're very playable. They're scoreable. They're not like what these guys are bowling on at the U.S. Open.
And again, for every... Oh, shit, Tony's in here. No, that's who you were saying.
Yeah.
Tony knows.
Hey,
so
Tony used to drill my stuff.
He worked on a couple of my bolts.
Heck yeah.
And it's again, everyone's got a bowl on it, so it's not like it's an unfair advantage for anybody else. And we're still a bunch of dummies on league, especially my league. Well, not like. We're 3-man league. It's a Thursday at 6:30. Like, we're there to get in, get out, and go to the chapter house. You know what I mean? Like, but
right. Of course,
it's more of a camaraderie than a competitiveness. We want to win. I bragged about how we went from 16th to 4th, and but I ain't losing sleep if we get swept. That's all.
Totally.
Can I ask you about the oil patterns? Just kind of circling back to the U.S. Open a little bit. And I don't know if this happens. Maybe you can answer if this happens at every tournament. Do they typically switch oil patterns in every tournament for each qualifying round?
No.
So it's just the U.S. Open.
There'll be some specific. Well, this year's U.S. Open.
Okay, right.
There'll be some events where they'll do dual patterns. Mm-hmm. There'll be like a one pattern on each lane, but for the most part, no. It's usually one pattern.
Wait a second. Now I got something else, and one of these guys in the chat's probably going to answer it. So there was a dude with a bug sprayer oiling the lanes, but then doesn't he have to reapply it the same way? For the other bowlers?
Yeah.
How? I mean,
precision.
Like with a batter's box, they have that little stencil that you dump the freaking, the lime in. You know what I mean? Like on baseball fields, they can just roll it. They have a stencil to follow, so it's easy to repeat. A bug sprayer and a mop. I don't know how much top job I use in my bathroom when I clean the damn thing, and I don't think I do it the same way each time. And that's a small thing.
Totally.
So that's kind of I could just see.
So honestly, probably back then when they said the lane man fucked him up, well, you know what? There's
some serious truth to that.
That holds some water. Jordan, I relish your compliment there. Thank you very much. But no, if I were bowling, there would be a 109th place, and then I would be right there.
Oh, come on.
You would be a 108th and a half, I feel like. I feel like that's, you have that kind of talent that you'd be in the half a place somewhere.
I think you could do better than that, Johnny.
I truthfully believe that if I bowled the U.S. Open this year, I'd probably finish somewhere 55th to 65th.
Like if you cashed, you'd be happy, right?
If I beat 2/3 of the field, yeah, I'd be ecstatic. But if I beat 2/3 of the field at the U.S. Open, bowling 3 games a week leading up to it, then we're gonna have to revisit the Red Wiffle Ball.
I was just gonna say that.
And I'm gonna have to revisit how good I really am.
Right. That's fair. That's fair.
Especially considering some of the best lefties that have ever lived are in 90th right now.
Right.
That do nothing but throw bowling balls all day, every day.
So we might have to revisit the wiffle bat if I were to finish higher than that. But
can we at least
again for the compliment, Jordan? I appreciate it.
Can we at least agree on, let's just say for league bowling on the house shot, it's a sport, and for the upper echelon and the pros, it's a skill. Can we we can all agree on that, right?
I'm sorry, I got sidetracked by Jason's comment.
Yeah, no, I
too.
It's good to see you, Jace. Thanks, bro. I'll stop being so humble. What were you saying, Rob? I'm sorry, that one got me.
I guess we could all agree that the house shot is a sport, and the upper echelon and the pros is a skill. That's pretty much, I think we could all agree on that.
Vice versa.
Professional bowling is a sport, 100%. It requires a massive amount of skill to compete at that level in the sport. League bowlers that average 230 and legit close their eyes when they throw the ball and shoot 858 and then want to thank their sponsors and brag on social media outlets and all that stuff. I understand you're bound by contract in some cases and you have to do it, but
right.
Guys, that's like me going to the American Legion field where the center field fence is 200 feet. It's 130 feet down the line. And I go and I hit 10 or 12 home runs. I hit 10 or 12 home runs in my first 20 swings. And then I have to get on and say, I'd like to thank Louisville Slugger for giving me this really awesome bat.
I want to thank Roy Hobbs
all
for
day
giving me this really wonderful bat.
There's a false sense there, and our sport really magnifies it when
these analogies, man.
I should make that video. So I really thank you so much to Louisville Slugger.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Thanks, Lou.
So Hammer has come out.
Probably right. I probably couldn't have went over the fence at the Legion right now.
Yeah, you're too stiff.
What were you gonna say?
Hammer's putting out some really cool balls. We got the red Black Widow that's coming up, but I saw somebody throwing the Black Widow with the darkness, I believe, and that ball, from what everybody says, is a beast.
Did you call it a Black
Widow
window?
darkness?
Is that what was it? Black Widow dark? It was a Hammer darkness, whatever the fuck.
You called it a black
The
window.
dark web.
Dark
web.
Oh, God damn it! Now I got to go back in the group. I swear to God, it said darkness, but is there a Black Widow that's
Black Widow? I feel like there was a Black Widow darkness, but like years ago.
Okay, see, I'm not up to date on releases, but I've seen people post it all over the
We're
Hammer
not talking
group.
about that chick pool player.
Oh, Janet Lee. Janet,
Black Widow. No,
Janet,
she is
the Black Widow.
She is amazing.
Yeah, thank you, Ryan. Yeah, I knew I recognized that name. The Black Widow Darkness is an overseas release.
Okay.
Wouldn't have seen that being used in the U.S. Open.
That makes sense. Okay.
Dennis caught you with your Black Window also.
Yeah, see, he said it's a black window. I'm like, what the hell? What kind of a marketing design is that? Is there a giant freaking window on a black bowling ball?
Yeah, somebody had posted that the Black Widow Darkness is a beast, and they posted their score. They ended up shooting 835 with it in league, and people are raving about it. So my bad. I thought that was going to be a domestic release, but we do have the. Is it a Red Pearl Black Widow that's coming out?
Hold on real quick, Rob.
It's a good topic, Rob. It's a good topic, though.
I do have something I got to add to this, though, because I was going to say this last week, but I know we had a short version. You know, when pros like Chris Barnes do a ball review, like I feel like he could throw a freaking salad bowl and it's going to hit the pocket because he's so good at doing it. So I don't notice a damn difference from whatever bowling when he's like, I'm going to use the ophthalmology 3 for this one, and he buries it, and then he's like, now I'm going to take the Friedrich's Ataxia Ocho, and then he buries it, and he's like, I really like these balls. You got to get them. And I saw the same thing you did 10 years ago with a different bowling ball. It hooked the same. You threw a strike. It looks good. You're probably on a house shot. What are you doing? How do I know what's... And then they say a bunch of freaking physics terms that I don't get. And I'm a damn physics major.
Right.
Well, that's why what you should do is go to ball videos that do showcase what a ball will do for you. Radical is the best at it because they use Throwbot.
I was going to say, there's like an Iron Byron. Remember like that robot that hits the golf ball?
Yep, and so what they'll do on their videos is like they'll make bowlers. Like they'll be Keanu Revs. They'll be
well, that's clever.
Yeah, right? But there's like Katie Curve or something.
Yeah,
whatever. And they go from like 15.5 miles an hour, sub 200 rev rate going up the gutter. They have somebody playing in the track area. They have a cranker playing way in. So
he's like a jugs machine or something. Like I feel like you have to create such spin. You need like a
I mean, you can check it out. It's called Throwbot. Just take.
I probably won't, but I should. That's
we know
part
you
of
won't.
it.
Troyland, what's up, buddy?
Champ?
Man,
anyway, so like real quick, back to the Black Widow Darkness, because first off, there are collectors of certain things. People in the States love overseas bowling balls. We always have.
Yeah.
There's a big call for them out here. But typically, just so you guys know, overseas balls, unless this has changed more recently, overseas bowling balls are built for overseas bowling because typically overseas bowling always was higher friction than in the USA.
Okay.
So typically when you get an overseas release, it's virtually the same ball that we have here with less of a load in the cover or a slightly modified weight block to make it go straighter.
Okay.
So when you guys are out there looking for overseas balls and you want to grab the, pick and pluck at ones that like, oh, this one's pretty rare and this and that, just keep in mind that if you do get them,
see you tomorrow, Tony.
Great seeing you, Tony. Have a good one. It's not necessarily going to be better than what you're using now. It's all it is simply going to be is like a AAA version of what we have here.
JP, did you watch
Jared? Let's absolutely send our love and prayers to the Black Widow battling uncurable ovarian cancer. That is fucking horrible.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. That is horrible.
That's horrible.
Thanks for letting us know there, Jared. Wow.
Well, at least we didn't rip on her or anything. We're actually, kind of putting her over.
No, she's fantastic.
Like I would never with her since I was 10 years old.
Yeah.
Sure.
Everybody was.
Oh, JP,
I actually bought a glove.
Did you get the glove for shooting pool?
Nice.
Bet your ass I did. Absolutely.
Did you watch like some 60 Minutes interview like the other night that now you're doing the whole side gimmick there where you're not facing on the camera, you're doing like.
Oh no, I'm in the guest room of Rochelle and I's place, and I have not much in here. This is like the overflow room for me. So I'm sitting on the desk chair from the other room, and the cat.
So you're a bit crammed.
Well, I'm kicking my feet up on the bed because I'm balancing the computer on the bed.
That makes sense.
Gotcha. I got you. All right. And well, look, you had me fooled. I thought you were like in some freaking hot seat or something like that, and like Larry King's doing the JP interview.
Well, I'm glad I brought that up about the.
Do the lean forward on the arms and the rock.
It's worse. Go back.
I'm glad I brought up the darkness. I wasn't aware of overseas releases. I didn't even know that was a thing. That's actually cool to know.
Absolutely.
But on the 23rd of this month, a new Black Widow comes out. It's a red and black. It looks.
I believe it's a hybrid, right?
Yeah, it is. It looks pretty badass. And
the original Pearl Black Widow was that color also when it was still just ebonite or just hammer. But yeah, God, sorry, Rob.
No, and I was just looking at the Envy tour as well. People are excited about. So I mean, they're staying on top of it, man. We know Stephanie just signed with Hammer, and by the way, shout out to Stephanie Sheridan. Her mom Lynn has had health problems, and she's able to. It looks like she's going to make a full recovery. She's leaving the hospital tomorrow, so just wanted to mention that as well. That's really, really good news and everybody loves Stephanie, so I'm sure everyone's been following her on Facebook anyway. But
absolutely, Steph, we love you. Send all of our love to Lynn, and please, it's great to hear that she's getting better and home. So that's fantastic.
So Troy says the Envy tour is better. Yeah.
Well, if it has to be good. It's black, so we all know that if a bowling ball is black, it's good.
Yeah,
and it's supposed to be very similar to an Obsession tour, solid, maybe with a little bit more. Mm-hmm. And anything that rolls like an Obsession tour is fine by me.
It's one of your favorite bowling balls, right? I think we covered that when we did your favorite balls of all time. I think that was high up on your list.
Happy birthday, Nicole.
Obsession Tour Solid is something special. And that Defender Hybrid is quickly becoming one of my favorite balls. That thing is just, if you guys haven't drilled a ball with HK22 cover, please do. I mean, I haven't drilled the Bigfoot yet, the hybrid one. To tell you the truth, I'm not even real sure what else HK22 is on. But I know it's on that Defender Hybrid. I believe it's on the Brutal Collision from DV8. Those are some balls you definitely want to check out as far as not being like the most important ball in your bag, or this ball is going to create something that I've never had before, or this is the best and hooks the most. Fuck all that. It's just they're both really, really good pieces to keep in your bag. They strike a lot, and they can strike from a lot of different angles, which as a bowler, when you want a limited arsenal, you want to have something that does that. So look out for those when you're shopping.
Are you allowed to throw hammers and other Brunswick brands, or are you just strictly signed to just Brunswick releases?
I'm under contract with Brunswick, but per my contract, we are allowed to throw all 7 brands.
That's cool.
But I'm contracted under Brunswick, so I have to order what I want from the other brands, whereas my Brunswick balls come directly to me.
I got you. Okay. Well, I mean, at least you're able to use all of them. So, I mean, that's cool. Because, like, I wondered about that. Like, Stephanie just signed with Hammer. But, I mean, is she only exclusively Hammer? She can't throw any other Brunswick? Like, I didn't know how that worked.
I don't think so. I don't know what her contract looks like.
We'll have to ask her.
And you know what's crazy, Jared, is I had to retire the plastic ball this year. I can't do what I was doing. If we go back to the arena, 100% first ball out of my bag. Yeah. So I'm excited for that NV tour myself. I really hope it's as good as Troy's saying it is.
Now, since Brunswick bought all these brands out, did they keep their original people, or did it all just switch under Brunswick and they're all kind of made under this, with the same machines and stuff? Or like, do you know anything about the production? Like, are they separate but still owned by Brunswick? I mean, how does that work?
When they closed the Hopkinsville, Kentucky plant, several employees from the other brands were brought aboard the Brunswick team.
Okay.
It's why the Hammer products continue to roll like Hammer products.
Gotcha.
Same thing with the Ebonite products and the Columbia products.
And that's exactly why I was asking that, because, they're known for a particular type and particular style of ball. I was worried they're all just going to become one big, conglomerate with different names, but.
It's a great thought, Rob, because in the early going, I was suspect of it also.
Right.
I was nervous that all of a sudden, all these Hammer balls that I wish I could throw were all of a sudden going to roll like Brunswick balls.
Right.
And in the early going, it's why I didn't drill a lot of them. Like when the original Redemption Solid came out, which was one of the sexiest balls I've ever seen. I thought it was so beautiful. Black, white, orange, solid. I was afraid to throw it because I thought it was going to roll like another asymmetrical solid Brunswick ball.
Yeah.
I waited a little while, to see if they were going to be true. And they are. They roll the way they're supposed to.
I like that.
Vince says the HK22 is on the 3D Attack, the Bigfoot Hybrid, the Top Speed, Brutal Collision, and Defender Hybrid. So I got the Brutal Collision. I had mentioned the Bigfoot, obviously the Defender Hybrid. I did drill a Top Speed. I didn't know that had HK22, and I have not yet drilled a 3D Attack. I drilled the original offset. I wasn't too happy with it, so I've been hesitant to drill the Attack. The Bigfoot Hybrid, again, I don't really drill much of anything that's symmetric unless it's urethane because I don't need angularity. I did drill my Top Speed. My Top Speed hooks about 3 to 4 feet earlier than my Defender Hybrid and lays off quite a bit compared to it. And again, I see George Gohagan throw that Brutal Collision more than anybody. And I mean, he makes, just like you said about Barnes, he makes everything look good. But any of those guys, check out that new cover stock. It's pretty impressive.
Now, we know that Belmo has his own line of balls, and they recently come out with a Storm Fate. That's a collaboration that he had with Storm. I know he's the greatest bowler in the world and probably the best of all time, but there's still a lot of really good high-profile pros out there. How come you don't see a particular line of bowling balls from anybody else?
As far as namesake bowl, you shouldn't have your name on a ball if you're not the best.
That's fair. But I mean, like I said, there's, Kyle Troop is amazing.
Right,
Simo's amazing.
There should be a 900 global ball that has something to do with Chris Barnes.
Right.
You would think there would be a Brunswick ball that has something to do with Parker Bone or Walter Ray.
Yeah.
You would think that there should be a Storm ball called the PDW or something like that.
Right. Yeah. It just popped in my head.
EJ Tackett. EJ Tackett had one with Motive called the EJ VIP.
Yep.
So they are around, but you're right. They're not nearly. You don't find them nearly as much as you would think.
I mean, look, Belmo he's the GOAT, right? I mean, everybody wants to be like him. That's why two-handers started bowling, and that's why people covet these balls. Like you said, the collectors love to get those Belmo balls because they're hard to get, especially the spare balls.
Especially the white one.
The white one, yes.
Clear white Belmo ball.
Yeah, yep. But I don't know why that just popped in my head. So we're going to get our last topic up here. It is the idiotic post of the week. And again, we don't name names here, but I go through the Facebook groups, and I won't tell the group either which brand it is or whichever it is. But this one is almost like what the fuck were you thinking? So I just want to preface it with that. So here is what I found. Okay, I need advice. I set my DV8 on the house rack behind a stack of bags after the first game and switched balls. I never thought someone would take it. The other team seen a fellow league member with the ball from a rack. What should I do? And people were just beating this person up in the comments like, why the fuck did you put your ball on the house ball rack? Like, a kid could have just come up and taken it. You know what I mean? Like, anybody could have, not even realized that.
The first thing I would...
Why wouldn't he put it back in his bag?
Right.
Or the first thing I would say is if the other team seen a fellow league member with a ball from our rack, wouldn't you go up to that fellow league member and say, can I have my ball back?
You would think. He's got the manager looking at videotape of any cameras they have around to try to see if he could find somebody, but
And who the hell... Why wouldn't you just put it under the ball return? Or
that too?
Yeah, most people do.
In your bag?
Yep.
It's idiotic in itself. We don't even need to talk about it. My shit got stolen because I put it someplace that's technically public.
That anybody can take.
Yeah. Yep.
That's like saying, dude,
I left my shoes outside. Where's my freaking...
I put my trash on the curb and some asshole came rummaging through it and took a pair of shoes.
Right. Yeah. It's just,
it's public property when it's on the street. And those are house balls. It's a rack for balls for people to pick up and say, ooh, this one feels good, and then leave with it.
What advice was he given? Like, I mean, because
nothing really, because everybody just beat the shit out of him. Like, what the fuck were you thinking putting on a house rack, you jackass? Like,
maybe he's doing like an experiment, and it didn't really happen.
No, I don't
see how asshole-ish bowlers are.
I mean, mate, no, I think this dude was like legit fucking stupid. So,
yeah, Maggie.
But I'm trying to see if I can find the post to find some of the comments. But no, like,
by the way, that was me that wrote that. Thanks for not outing me. So
you're welcome.
If I find this guy, I'm kicking the shit out of him.
I was trying to.
You deserve to have it.
I'm trying to kayfabe it for you, but no, I mean, it just, god damn, dude. Like, I've never done that in the 30-something years that I've been bowling. All right, I got some comments. There's 42 comments. Let me peruse through these real quick and see what people are saying about them. Even the first comment was like, why would you put your personal ball on the rack to begin with? Someone else said, your fault, being careless. Another guy said
it was stolen. Actually, I'm glad someone took it. Really?
Yeah. Another guy said,
I hate to say it,
thanks. Like he was the one that took it.
He said points. THOINKS.
Did you really write foinks, or did you just say that naturally?
Yeah, right. Were you enunciating improperly again?
No, I never do. So
so the guy really wrote thoinks. All right.
No, he didn't.
I think the majority of people don't say foinks.
Yeah, well, that's foreign to me. So
the majority don't either.
That's another one I'm not allowed to say. I can't say foreign anymore.
Foreign.
I have to say foreign.
Oh my god!
It's amazing how ugly the language is on this side of the country.
What about Florida?
I still say Florida, and I get shit on for that too.
What's it supposed to be?
I'm like, guys,
why are they so mad?
They say Florida.
Why are they so fucking
Florida?
It's not like you're saying
they say Florida. I'm like, I didn't realize that there were two O's in Florida, just like floor.
Florida.
That's my point. It shouldn't be if there was FLOORIDA, it'd be Florida.
Yeah.
But again, you're not saying Haiti and meaning Florida. They know what the fuck you're saying.
Right. Totally.
Why did they get so mad?
I don't know. Oh, by the way, they found an update. They had this dude on video taking the ball. So apparently he was able to retrieve it. He should get the key for this guy being such a fucking idiot, right?
Yeah, they should.
It's like a minute.
Or the guy that stole it should say, listen, guys, it's not my fault that asshole put this ball on this house rack.
That's right.
To my knowledge, this house rack is for balls for us to use. If you want this ball back, you're going to have to pay for it now.
Somebody actually said, call him out.
Stole my bowling ball.
Call him out if you have proof. Maybe it was an accident. What kind of fucking accident would be to walk up to a house rack and be like, oh, look, it's a fucking DVA. I'm going to take it. Like,
not my ball.
Well, during league, that's another one. I can't say during. I have to say during.
Oh, Jesus, here we go.
During league, there shouldn't be anybody in the set tee other than league bowlers anyway.
Correct.
So, yes, if you get, like, let's say you're in a league and the 9 p.m. shift comes in of kids that want to go bowling. Okay, great. Now they got a pair on the other side of the house. You get those stragglers that walk through the leagues, not even fucking realizing what they're doing, and they look for house balls.
Right.
That I could see, but this comment is making it sound like somebody from league took his bowling ball.
Yeah, that's exactly
what league took his bowling ball, and I saw somebody put a ball on the house ball rack. I would be under the assumption that they didn't fucking like that ball, and they were leaving it there as a donation. The same way
I've seen that,
which somebody else actually said in the comments. I leave balls there that I don't want anymore. So yeah,
I can't tell you how many bowling balls of mine are in trash cans at South Point.
Right.
It's so, and then I feel bad after the fact because every time I used to be known for getting rid of balls in like the classiest way possible, like whether it's in trash cans or
throwing them down 195
somewhere, right? And I would always feel really bad because after I would do that, I would see kids like going through the trash to get my ball or out in the parking lot seeing if the scuffs were bad enough.
I would.
So now when I get pissed, now I just legit find a kid. Like before I throw it in the trash can,
So basically,
I find a random kid and just say, "This is for you," and I just give them
there'd be rumblings of JP Jr. being pissed off, and then the kids are like, "Oh, this could be our night."
Yeah,
and then they're like, "Wait, you check the trash can on the east side of the building. I'm gonna hang out on the west. Someone get the front door."
Totally.
Jared has a great point. This is exactly what we did at Bradley Bowl. We just fucking take him out in the parking lot and just roll it against the fucking the dumpster and just crack it in half. That's
totally
awesome. I didn't know I was the only one.
All
that did
my
that.
shit's been given to me, so I ain't giving it away. I'm no re-gifting.
That's true.
Well, you should get some new friends because it looks like nobody's given you a bowling ball since 2008.
I got 3 in the basement that I'm just too lazy to drill because I won't go practice. When am I going to drill it? Shit.
Let's see how good you are. Can you tell me what they are?
No. Well, green and a red.
A green and red and orange.
No clue. I mean, and I haven't even looked. No, not even. I'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
helpful.
and you can say, and if I say what they are, you might go, "Oh, that's a," and I'll go, "Yeah, okay, cool."
Just tell the manufacturer and the color. That's all you gotta do.
Green and red.
For the rest of our viewers that are still here, there is still time to go back to our show from last week.
Oh yeah,
and put in your pick for the U.S. Open champion to win a ball. Remember, it's the first person that wrote the name, so if the name's already taken, don't repeat it. Find somebody different. But you guys actually, just for tuning in this week, you got even more of a chance now because you can actually
now you see who's in the lead.
You can see who's doing well.
Right.
So
yeah.
You can.
But go back and read the chat so you don't screw up your pick, though.
Correct.
And there's plenty of names that have not been picked. And remember, you have to post it in that chat. So either scroll down, not on tonight's chat. So either scroll down my Facebook page and find Straight Up Live or Straight Up 5 from last week, or you can find it on any podcast outlet, on any streaming outlet, YouTube,
are we looking at there
app
for
on your
bowling?
phone, anything. So
Well, are we looking there for the bowling picks though, or no?
Yeah, you have to go back to episode 57, which was last week's episode.
Right, but we're not. Are we checking YouTube to see who's writing shit, or just this page?
Yeah, we can. I mean, we're live on YouTube right now, or Twitter or anywhere.
YouTube as well.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on all that.
All it'll be very easy to find the first written for sure for the winner. See, like for instance, Mike. Make sure you go back on last week's show and put that name there. Even though I'll count that one because he's here right now. But that's a perfect one to throw into the running. I mean, he's in 12th place right now, by God. You can
chat in the comment is the same thing, actually, isn't it? Technically?
Well,
right now it
is. He's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
Yeah. It doesndon't matter where as long as it's from last week's show.
Actually, in the comments, it's going to be easier to track because in the chat, we don't have that many people watching on YouTube, so maybe it won't be so bad, but probably better in the comment for YouTube, right?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Leave it in the comment, and I'll go back and check those this weekend once we have the results. And that's exciting because look, nobody else is doing that. That's in-depth, cutting edge right there. That's unfettered.
That's unfettered.
It is.
Is this on TV? This bowling tournament? Oh wait, that's right. You said there's the top 9. Shit, I forgot.
It'll be on Fox this weekend.
I'll let you guys know.
Yeah, we're on top of things.
Oh yeah, we are.
So I got Supercross Saturday night, but that doesn't start till 10.
Pro Bowl's coming up this weekend too, so hopefully it's not on Sunday.
Pro bowling is on Sunday, like you said.
And I'm looking forward to it. They're doing flag football this year. They're bringing the skills competition back.
Let me see if I can find the schedule.
I hope they talk like that.
I know it's here somewhere. I got to get my glasses.
I'm going to put the sport pattern down from the U.S. Open for these junior little sons.
There it is. I found the daily schedule. The television show is Saturday, February 4th at 4 p.m. on FS1. That's seeds 5 through 9. So that is 4 p.m. Saturday, February 4th on FS1. The advancer from Saturday's FS1 broadcast bowls in the first match of Sunday's stepladder with the top 4, which is live Sunday, February 5th at 2 p.m. I don't know. It doesn't say Eastern, Central, or Pacific time. They're in Indiana. I have absolutely no idea what time zone that is.
I think they always go by.
Usually run Eastern?
I think Eastern is the standard that everybody goes on.
Huge.
Yeah.
What was that other lingo that is out in the West? Huge. As per usual.
Is that on Fox or FS1 on Sunday?
It's on Fox on Sunday.
See, that could be
confusing. And real quick, because I want to say thanks, Dennis. It is Eastern time zone.
Thanks, Dennis.
I love Vince to death, but I'm gonna have a discussion with his comment right here.
Oh boy.
Nobody can walk away with the U.S. Open, and nobody can walk away with a tournament when they haven't seen two of the elements that they're up against.
Nobody.
So Thomas Larsson could legit come out tomorrow and shoot 300 under, and we or go 300 over. But nobody walks away with the U.S. Open. Nobody.
All right, guys, as we wrap it up here, again, like Johnny said, if you want to win a ball directly from his bag, I couldn't help it.
He's got epididymitis too, so
it's a large bag.
Yeah, it's low hanging fruit. So, if you want to win a ball
Vince,
from,
sorry, Rob, sorry, Vince, you're 100% right. He's shocking the shit out of me. I said it earlier.
Yeah, he did.
Rob,
you did, and that's a good thing because we want to see more. I don't want to say lesser known names, but somebody who's not typically a top tier guy like a Troop or a Rash or anybody else. So,
totally.
Yeah, good for him.
Thanks, Jared. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks, Jared. So, as we wrap it up here, you do have a chance to win one of Johnny's balls. Again, go back to last week's show, either on YouTube. And if you're not subscribed on YouTube, please do. It's Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. on YouTube. Subscribe there. You can leave a comment there on last week's program or Johnny's Facebook page. Just scroll back to last week when we went live and leave your comment there on who you think is going to win the U.S. Open this weekend. And Johnny will give you one of his balls. Bear says it's a lefty ball.
It sure is.
But it doesn't have a thumb, right? So that means it's like only a half lefty?
Well, the one I'm giving away won't have any holes, so I'll make sure I pull it out of the right-handed pile.
Holeless.
Nice. Jim Ward, to answer your question, the whole purpose of soaking bowling balls back then was to soften the cover of the ball and make it hook more. So it was, first off, an extremely volatile and flammable substance. So if you did it incorrectly, you could fucking kill yourself. But nowadays, especially with them cracking down on hardness levels, especially because of the purple hammer.
Yeah.
The last thing any professional bowler is going to do right now is
make it
drop
softer.
a bowling ball into something to make it even softer, because now you could see it just as much as you could see then. And could you imagine somebody on the 49-foot pattern with a ball that was soaked and actually creating a reaction when 107 other guys couldn't? It just wouldn't fly nowadays. And besides, the technology and the covers and the cores themselves are so advanced, we can manipulate a ball to do whatever we want without having to use substances like that. So you are right that, Don McCune made it absolutely famous, and it was still technically legal. And it won him Player of the Year in 1972, I believe. So, but yeah, it's kind of doesn't happen anymore.
You still watching Candlepin, Johnny, or did you get out of that rabbit hole?
I'm not watching as much Candlepin. I'm back to full-time weightlifting, so I'm back on my weightlifting videos and my nutrition videos.
Nice.
And I watch a lot of Brian Christopher slots because I stopped gambling. But he's a social media influencer that's actually got so famous for playing slot machines that he has his own slot machine now.
Wow.
So I like watching him hit some big jackpots. That's what I've kind of switched to pass the time when I'm not watching the news or weightlifting videos.
So Ocho is so popular now, like I'm surprised you don't have your own line of masks, Och.
I have masks and bowling balls. How do you think I set the masks up so they don't wrinkle?
Very good. Very, very good.
In any event, we'll be back next week.
End the show, Rob.
We will we'll talk about the results of the U.S. Open, and we'll preview next week's tournament. Now, what's coming up next week, Johnny? Do you still have the schedule?
I can find the PBA schedule.
Let's see what we got here. Let me put on
Let's see what first we have to click the 3 bars, PBA National Tour.
How do you use this little thing? I don't know. Where's the paper? I used to read through the paper.
The bastard stole my paper.
That never gets old.
The 2023 PBA Tour schedule. Next week they will be in
I was almost going to hit it.
Woodland Bowl in Indy this week. Next week they're at the PBA Springfield Classic, February 7th through the 11th, which is in Springfield, Missouri.
The good old Springfield Classic.
Jesse's girl.
Then they're heading over to Shawnee, Oklahoma, followed by Wichita, Kansas, Jackson, Michigan, Fair Lawn, Ohio, and then on to Kokomo, Indiana, Allen Park, Michigan, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So they get to a couple of good bowling cities this year.
Do you think they'll ever have a Canadian stop? Because, I mean, do people even bowl in Canada? Do we know?
They used to. Oh, God. Classic Bowl in Ontario is a stunning facility.
Really?
That's what I said earlier. The Iowa Foresters Open.
Foresters.
Yeah, that was
Only you
a
can
huge
prevent forest fires.
Yep.
Only you.
Smokey the Bear.
We've been on for a long time. I got to go to the gym.
I know. Go, man. I got to go to the gym.
We're going to go. I am going to put myself over real quick. If you want to check out... if you want to check out the other podcast, I don't know if you guys ever watched Bering Sea Gold or Gold Rush on Discovery Channel, but I actually had a guest from Bering Sea Gold, Steve Rydell, on the show. And people...
From Rydell High.
That's right. People love that shit. So just out of the blue. So go check out RTW Main Event if you want to hear that. I had XPW owner Rob Black on Uncanceled with Drake Wirtz. Rob Black is a former porn king who somehow got into wrestling, became a wrestling promoter. Ocho, I think you know exactly who he is. I had Rob Black on that show as well. So I don't ever put myself over or talk about my other shows. But yeah, that's what I got going on. Johnny, as always, thank you. Ocho,
I'll always thank you to you too, Rob.
It was a good show.
Thank you for being a foreigner.
It was a good show. We had a lot to talk about tonight, so it was fun. Everybody, everybody here that
Twitter where we don't know where anybody is.
Oh yeah, at Rad Rob Gaming, at the Dr Ocho, and at JPJR07. Those are our Twitter handles. I never ask Ocho anymore because he just doesn't care.
You're learning. Good.
And we'll be back next week for an edition of Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. Good night, everybody.
And thanks for stopping by, San Diego.
Go fuck yourself, San Diego.
Thanks for listening to this edition of Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. You can follow the show on Twitter at Straight Up 5 Pod. Follow Johnny Jr. at JPJR07. Follow Rad Rob at Rad Rob Gaming. And follow Dr. Ocho at the Dr. Ocho. Got a question for Johnny? Send your questions to straightup5podcast@gmail.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. Right here on the Rad Rob Radio Network.
How to have fun anytime, anywhere. Step 1. Go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2. Collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa welcome bonus.
Step 3. Play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games. All for free?
Step 4. Unleash your excitement.
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com.